Welcome back, everybody. We are back from our trip to Nashville. Quite an experience. I'll be tomorrow showing you some clips from the debate that I did, and what a Sunday show I have for you. Starting with, you know how if you're very online, as I am, I have to be for this job, I unfortunately have to spend a lot of time on X or Twitter. And I think we've all had the feeling before where we're getting so upset with an account, often one that says, I'm a proud MAGA American, and blah, 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 blah. And I think to myself as I'm getting infuriated, it doesn't even feel like this person's real. It doesn't even feel like they're engaging with me in a real way or just engaging with the public in a real way. Well, they're not in many cases. Now, as we get into what we're going to talk about, it's not that there aren't a bunch of very real influencers who say things that I feel like should be coming from a pro-Trump bot, but aren't. And they're verifiably crazy or just very opposed to me politically. But so many of the people you're wasting your life getting outraged about, that's just their job. They're just doing their 9 to 5, baby. They're going to their break room just like you. They're getting their coffee and then they're sitting down at their desk with 12 X accounts in Nigeria, was one of the countries that kept coming up, in some paid bot farm or fake influencer farm, and doing their job because they're getting paid by Russia or whoever. So let me give you some. So what happened was X rolled out a new feature where you could see where an account is from, which is not to say that people in other countries can't make X accounts and then talk about American politics. They can't. But what it's a sign of, as you're about to see, is a lot of these accounts that say, I'm a proud American and women shouldn't vote. I'm a proud American and hey, Hitler's not so bad. And then a lot of them are just saying, I'm a proud American and Trump's the best thing ever. It's not that they're just a person in a different country lying. It's that they're a part of an operation to drive outrage in the United States, often paid by foreign organizations and governments. Like this one with 1 million followers, Ivanka Trump. It's like a fan account that does a lot of pro-MAGA stuff. The person running it almost certainly does not care at all. And he's either just a bot or is a paid worker to facilitate these accounts. So you can click, oh, account based in Nigeria. But also there's this little thing, which I think, sometimes there's an exclamation mark, which means it's a VPN. And that sets up a whole nother set of questions. But 1 million followers, Trump's the best, Ivanka Trump's my queen. It's just someone who's stimulating right-wing outrage because they're paid to do so or they're a bot. Or whatever distinguishment there is between those two things. Or this one, you might be thinking, well, that might just be a genuine Nigerian fan of Ivanka. Okay, maybe. I'm sure that account once said I'm an American, but okay. Because this guy says American guy. So he's definitely claiming to be American. American guy. Already a red flag that's clearly an AI. It looks like an AI generated man. Account based in India. And this is another MAGA account. Weirdly, it's not that there aren't, I'm sure, liberal outrage accounts that are also a part of these foreign influence operations to divide Americans. Very prominently, we've covered how Russia does this. And their goal is just, it's not, in the case of Trump, it was like, we would love Trump specifically to be in power, but often they'll tout these accounts, they'll tout whatever narrative they need to stoke outrage and instability. And Trump just happened to be like the best destabilizing agent you could, and I don't use that term in the way that you might be thinking I'm saying, I just mean like a variable that you could possibly imagine. While we continue through this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free right below the video. Just click it and it helps us get the word out about stuff like this. American Patriot is one account based in Chile. Interesting. It's the best feature ever. This person said, right here with you, Trump 2024, America first always, 100% with you. We stand with Trump and with our country. With our country. This one's from Morocco. And again, That's just where some entity is outsourcing the influencer creating, or the account creating, or the bots, or the trolls. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that country. That's just where they're outsourcing the work. And I want our outrage to be made in America. Is that so crazy? I want our crazy people on X to be made in America. Trump is talking about preventing, even though he's failing at it with his tariffs, the outsourcing of jobs. Think about how many jobs we're outsourcing with people who are paid to make us angry. That should be done here. You have this one, America Only. This account, The General. Proud American. Patriot. Ethnically American. So a lot of like the white supremacist accounts, which I'm assuming, colonial stock 1620 hosts on ethnic American broadcast. This one, Turkey. It's turkey time. Because it's a holiday-ish week, you won't be seeing Jaden and Cole in the same room very much. I'm giving Jaden off today, then Cole will be in a couple days. So we won't have the soundboard is the point. Then you have a whole thread Harry Sisson put together. This one, Europe, a Tom Homan fan account. How do you not know that's a fake? Even people who like Tom Homan don't fangirl out for Tom Homan. Come on. This one's also from Europe, Morocco, the Ivanka Trump one I already showed you. Native American Soul, Bangladesh. Ultra MAGA, American flag. Trump, American flag. 2028, Nigeria. Eric Trump fan account. Barron Trump. Caroline Levitt. Kai Trump. Macedonia. And you just go on and on and on and on. There are people or AI-driven accounts that are being set up just to divide us. Now, it is interesting. Again, it's not that there aren't any liberal-leaning frauds or influence operations. There are. But it's fascinating how heavily, at least the examples I've seen in my feed is, probably slanted. I was checking, though, is so heavily MAGA. Why is it that other countries, why is it that our adversaries who are very likely backing this stuff, why is it that they believe creating fake accounts that portray themselves as very pro-Trump would destabilize the United States? It's interesting. That's all I'm saying. God bless America, says the Caroline Levitt America First account, Bangladesh. Ian Miles Chung, United Arab Emirates. So think about how many times you have had your day worsened. You have been infuriated because someone's just acting so cringily outrageous. Really believe you probably aren't even interacting with, in many cases you are, but in many cases you're not even interacting with a person who cares at all what they're saying. They're either not a person or they're a person who's just paid to create a bunch of these fake accounts. And they're not at all actually attached to their viewpoint. And that's why I think one of the reasons I still, as much effort as it is, go and do some of these debates. So over the weekend, I went to Nashville to film this bar fight Daily Wire thing where Michael Knowles and I debated, and I had a partner debating, and the whole crowd almost was MAGA. I met a few fans who came, but the whole crowd was mostly MAGA because of Michael Knowles of it. And afterwards, I went and talked with people, and we really do have genuine crazy divides. So it's not to say this isn't real. The moment that we're in. We are in a very divided moment because of very different principles. But it is interesting how that just, you don't have a brain feeling is way less likely when you're having an actual conversation in person than it is online. And that's because of a bunch of factors, the bravery behind a screen and the lack of humanity you feel. But one of them is because you don't have these inflamers, these operatives who are trying to exacerbate tensions. And it's why I still try to go into the lion's den here and there and meet people in person, because you realize still outrageous differences, but our ability to discuss them is a lot better in person than it is online. And it's why I happen to have to stay online for my job. But if that's not a part of your job, I really encourage you to get off social media as much as possible. There are beautiful benefits connecting with people who live really far away and stuff like that. But as much as you can minimize just doom scrolling, this is the most generic advice ever, but no one ever takes it, the better. And I try to strictly use something like X for just seeing what the political discourse is than free time doom scrolling. Because there is quite literally millions of dollars, billions of dollars maybe, thousands of people who are just tasked with making you think the world is worse, making you think the country is about to fall apart, that your fellow Americans are as outrageous as possible. And that's the sole objective. And I do credit, in this case, X with adding this feature. But a lot of social media accounts don't have any incentive in giving you that transparency, because they benefit with you being on there upset longer and longer and longer. And the more outrage there is, something about us physiologically, the more that we want to keep engaging with it. So do take this as we've covered other stories. We covered this one story of an account, actually numerous, that had been getting set up using the likeness of models who didn't know this was happening. And it would be their image and then edited like hats on them to make it look like they had a certain political view, and they're right-wing ones. And I think there was a liberal one that was out there saying like liberalism is, and then a bunch of really ridiculous claims. And so there's the equivalent of what we get with a lot of these Trump's the best accounts, and saying things that are just so utterly disgusting that you feel even more hatred towards your political laws. There's the equivalent for the other side where they're seeing a version of what they're up against that is as skewed as possible, and then remove all of that for a second. Remove any bot farm. I don't even know all the correct phrases for this. I don't know. What's a bot farm? I know what a bot farm is, but like, what's the difference between just a guy who gets paid to set up a bunch of, there's a difference. But you know, the combination of all of that, just attempting to influence their disingenuous representations of who people are online. Remove all of it for a second. Just how an algorithm works. Understandably, even if you set up an account and you needed mostly ads to be sold, or if you set up a platform, I should say, Lucre, like Twitter, right? Lucre.com. And I wanted it to make money. Well, I want to sell ads on it. How do I sell more ads on it? I have people stay on as long as possible because they'll see more ads. So then advertisers will have to will want to pay for more, and there'll be more access to people. So then you just set up your algorithm to say, serve people what engages them the most, because that's what's going to keep them on the platform longest. So then what engages the most? Outrageous stuff. So even real people on either side who just say outrageous things. I'll give you another example. At this debate, I had an audience member bring up to me that like she saw on her Instagram feed that we were debating something in the feminism world, or like what liberalism says about feminism. And she was saying that she believes liberals to be irrational because she wants to be a mother, and she heard that liberals don't want you to be a mother, that they hate motherhood. Like that was the gist of her question. And my response was, well, that's ridiculous. Our stance is all about the choice to do whatever it is that you want to pursue, a career or motherhood or both or whatever. And whoever's telling you that's what you're up against or what it means to be liberal is lying to you. And she said, well, I've seen people claiming that about themselves as feminists on their feed. Why would that be? And my response was, well, because those are the people who are going to get the most engagement, which then will get served up more and more because it's going to keep you on the app. And that is what's distorting our political discourse so much. And it comes back to so frequently what I beg people to do, which is try to pay a little bit more attention to the relevant centers of power and not just whoever's popping up on their feed. And the reason that I truly believe the extremism in the Republican Party has gotten so far, it's not because I saw some random account that said something insane on TikTok and claimed to be MAGA, because that could be very unrepresentative. It's because the president of the United States, who actually has power, is the one representing those views. But if your worldview is being shaped by out of context, sometimes fake, often fake, and engagement-oriented anecdotes, you're going to be lost at sea as to how to properly observe what the different relevant ideologies are in a political discourse. So pretty crazy stuff. Be careful out there. Try to detach from doom scrolling, because either those really outrageous people often are the examples I just showed you, facilitated to outrage us, or they know that outraging you is going to perform better. So they're leaning into that for the sake of views and clicks.